Welcome to Coffee on the Couch. Coffee on the Couch. Hey, Couchside Coffee. I have a very exciting guest today. Per usual, they're all exciting. But we have Kyle with the St. Charles County Ambulance District. He is there, let me get this right, Public Information Officer. So he's going to talk to us all things ambulance district, what's coming down the pipeline, how their paramedics help with the community, just an awesome conversation. But first, my favorite segment is, what are we drinking?
Well, I today am drinking an Iced Bananas Foster, which when I walked in today, I received quite possibly the best news of the week, that it's been added to the menu permanently.
Yep.
This used to be a seasonal flavor that I would come in and pick up a couple of bags, and I'd have to ration myself over the course of a whole year. And now I can get it whenever I want it.
You can enjoy it all year round.
I say I'm going to attribute this to you personally, and
it's the best.
Yeah.
If you need a little variation, add some chocolate drizzle to that.
A little banana fudge. Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah, it's good. And I am drinking one of our Build Your Own Brilliance energy drinks. So we now have sugar-free options and sugar-free Brilliance energy. So for my health nuts who still wants to enjoy some energy drinks, come see us at PJ's. So
cool.
Yeah. So thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Always enjoy your presentation at the chamber meetings.
Yeah.
They're very informative, I feel like.
Well, good. I'm happy to hear that. It's always nice to hear that people are interested in what their EMS system is up to, because I get it. We're not something that you want to do a whole lot of business with, and you hope you don't have interactions with us, but it's always still nice to hear that people are interested in what we've got going on.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to interact with you guys, no offense. But on the plus side, it is nice to have familiar faces should you have to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So can you tell us a little bit about your role as the Public Information Officer?
Sure thing. My role, I always say, is first and foremost very different than anybody else's at the ambulance district. You will never find me on the back of one of our trucks providing direct patient care. My role is to tell our story to the community that we serve. We do that in a variety of ways. I work pretty frequently with traditional media, with trade media, to get the message out there about what we have going on. Another piece of my job that you've kind of alluded to already that I really enjoy is getting to connect with our business community through chambers of commerce, Rotary clubs, and we do a lot of presentations on everything from what the district has going on to new clinical initiatives to also health and safety training, things like CPR, stop the bleed, things of that nature, to make our citizens a little bit more informed and help empower them to really change the course of certain emergency calls should they be present when they occur.
Yeah, well, I would imagine that helps your paramedics out. So if someone's on the scene and can administer CPR before they get there, right?
Early bystander CPR and use of an AED, if one is present, can completely change the trajectory of that call. It truly can mean the difference between life and death for that patient. Having somebody get on the chest, do those good quality chest compressions, push that oxygen-rich blood up to the brain. If a patient lies there not receiving that for those 4, 5, 6 minutes until trained help is on scene, their chance of a neurologically intact outcome is greatly diminished versus if somebody has done that during that time.
Yeah. Whew. Takes a community, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does, which is why we believe in investing in that and offering that training for our community.
Yeah. So you kind of segued into my next question. Everyone kind of knows assuming everyone knows what paramedics do, the ambulance district, but you also mentioned you guys do a scope of things as far as like community training and community relations. Can you kind of dive into a little bit further with that and kind of explain how someone, maybe if they own a business and they're like, it might be beneficial to, have first aid training or something?
Sure. When people think ambulance, they think of a couple of things. They think car wrecks, they think cardiac arrest, they think heart attack, they think stroke. That's what comes to mind immediately. And certainly we run a tremendous volume of 911 calls every single year here in our community. We also offer a bevy of other service lines that help improve patient outcomes in our community. We do interfacility transfers, meaning if somebody is at one of our community hospitals and needs to go downtown to one of the bigger, more specialty procedures, more
Sure.
specialty providers, something like a Big Barnes or a SLU, we can handle those transfers. We handle critical care transfers. If somebody is on several infusions and has a lot of specialty devices, we've got crews who are trained up at an even higher level of critical care paramedic or flight paramedic that handle those high acuity transfers. We do what's called mobile integrated health, which is really an interesting subset of our business. Many know it as community paramedicine. And these paramedics work with patients who battle chronic health conditions, and they try and work with them to take control of those conditions through a series of home visits and things of that nature, so that they don't have to activate 911 as frequently, so they don't have to admit to the hospital quite so frequently. Because let's be honest, everybody wants to be when they're in their home environment where they're comfortable. So we try and help them take control of that and stay in that environment where they're a little bit more comfortable. Again, on the community training side of things, we do offer hands-only CPR and AED training. We are getting ready to launch a pretty substantial Stop the Bleed effort. So if a business in St. Charles County is interested in that training, much of what we do can be offered at absolutely no cost for a business. We will come in, we'll work with you on a time frame that is convenient for your business, depending on your operating hours, things of that nature. We've done early mornings, we've done lunch and learns, we've done early evenings. And if your staff is ready, willing, and able to learn some of these life-saving skills, we're going to do everything we can to make it a convenient partnership, and we will go anywhere in St. Charles County to do that.
That's fantastic. So if someone were interested in that, can they just find that on your website?
We do. We have information on that on our website, and it's pretty easy, scad.com.
We'll put it in our show notes too, but that's phenomenal.
Yes, we've got all of that on our website. They can reach out to us, get something on the books, get it scheduled. We're working to actually bolster our team of individuals who will go out and do those sorts of trainings. Again, our big focus is what we call lifesaver CPR. And a lot of people are used to CPR in the sense that maybe they've taken a class when they were in high school. Mm-hmm. Maybe they took a class whenever they were working as a lifeguard when they were younger, or maybe even their workplace required it at one point or another. They're used to that lengthy class that they got the course completion card at the end that said, you're blessed, you're good at CPR for 2 years. This is not that style of class. Those classes still exist, but this is really just general citizen knowledge. We hone in on the most important pieces, make sure everybody's comfortable, explain the why behind the practices, and also help you with hands-on practice with mannequins and things of that nature. And again, this isn't a certification class, but what we often say is you don't need a card in your wallet to save somebody's life.
Sure.
You just need to be willing and able to act in that situation.
And
with very little
fantastic.
training, most people are well equipped to handle it.
Yeah, that's great. Another thing that I follow your Facebook page, is I call them like the good news. I don't know if that's what you call them, but I saw where my favorite paramedics, because I have experience with them, Josh and Andy,
Mm-hmm.
actually helped transport a local, I think he was in high school, to his high school game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they couldn't find transportation for this high schooler, and they were like, we'll do it. He needs to go, we'll do it.
That was an interesting situation that kind of presented itself, that all came up very quickly.
Sure.
That family had a transport lined up, and unfortunately something happened on the business end, and they weren't going to be able to complete the transfer. And this young man had been looking forward to it. He had been inpatient in a rehab facility for quite some time. This was he may have just gotten home earlier that day, and certainly within the same week. And, we got wind of it. We were asked if we could help. And the answer, if we can at all possibly do it, is always going to be a yes. If we can make that connection for somebody in our community that, just makes a positive impact on their life after they've been through such a struggle, absolutely, we're going to try and do that.
And he couldn't have asked for two better people to transport him.
Yeah, just two fantastic guys. Absolutely, you're right.
Actually, I should probably post some pictures of my children with Josh and Andy, because we came to it was just the ambulance station, right?
Yeah, we met out at our station on Hopewell. Yeah, right down the street from the shop
my
here.
kids loved it. Logan loved it because they helped him with a pretty significant fall and busted chin one day. So what a great team.
Well, and the fact that we had the opportunity to reconnect and let them meet him and let him meet them. Those kinds of situations are always very heartwarming, because oftentimes our crews, once we transfer patient care at the hospital, that's often the end of our story with the patient, and we don't know the follow-ups and the outcome.
That was my next question. Do you even know?
When we do get those situations where somebody reaches out and said, hey, here was the date, here was the time, here's what was going on, I would love to reconnect with this crew if at all possible. Like just this week, we had a gentleman who suffered a cardiac arrest and reached back out and was able, got a hold of the O'Fallon Fire Protection District crew and the ambulance crew that ran his call, and everybody got together for dinner at the fire station. What an awesome night.
Love it.
What a just fantastic opportunity to celebrate and get back together. And everybody always laughs and says, this is way better circumstances to get. Yes, we agree. We'd much rather see you for this.
I would imagine, as a paramedic, it probably is nice to have some closure on some of those patients that you do help out.
It is. Having that knowledge that that everything came through okay and that they were able to make again, particularly going back to those cardiac arrest calls and those higher acuity calls, when a patient makes that neurologically intact recovery, it is a wonderful thing, and it is a testament not only to the hard work that goes on scene with our paramedics and our fire protection district partners, but also the coordinated care that happens at the hospital after the fact. And again, before that crew even steps on scene, it's important for those bystanders to know that the actions that they took totally changed the course of that call. Because if that patient had lied on the ground with no CPR being performed for 5, 6, 7 minutes, we could be talking about a very different outcome.
Yeah. Love it. Those are my favorite things to see on your Facebook page. is your little happy post. I always reshare them because I feel like people need good news today. Like
everybody always needs good news in their life, and it is funny. The couple of things that, having managed, social media for us for a very long time, I can tell you that the two things that are going to get the most likes, comments, shares are patient reunion pictures. That's always a number, that's always a high one. And anytime we are able to use our pet oxygen mask to maybe help a dog or a cat that maybe was involved in a house fire, if we didn't have any human patients that were able to give a dog or a cat a little bit of oxygen, a good dog picture goes a very long way.
I bet it does.
So those are always our two biggest. We could be announcing a new station location that's going to serve the community.
No, we want to see the dogs.
The dogs. That's you're going to get way more likes on the dog. That's okay though.
That's funny. I bet that's very true though. Everyone loves a good dog pic.
Of course. Who doesn't love a good dog?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What initiatives or programs are you? We kind of talked about this. You're coming out with some training and stuff, but what else do you have coming down the pipeline that you're excited about?
The most exciting clinical initiative that has hit in quite a while for us actually just launched a couple of weeks ago. On October 7th, we launched a pre-hospital blood component transfusion program, which is a big milestone for us as an organization. We are the third in the St. Louis region to offer this from an EMS perspective, and one of less than 300 EMS organizations nationwide that do it. So what that means is if a patient is suffering serious blood loss, that could be maybe a traumatic injury, that could be a GI bleed, that could be postpartum hemorrhage, that could be a bleeding ulcer, any of those types of things. we are able to infuse packed red blood cells and plasma right there on scene and en route on the way to the hospital.
Game changer.
Game changer. Up until now, obviously, we treated that like many organizations do, by pushing saline and things like that to get the pressure back up. But those packed red cells and that plasma really is a game changer, and again translates to improved patient outcomes. It's something we've been looking at for a long time. We are partnering with Impact Life on that initiative. They're our blood supplier, and much more to come on that. That we're going to be doing our part and hosting blood drives and things of that nature. And you never know, the pint that you donate may go back into a friend, a neighbor, somebody in our community. Now, to be certain, if a patient is in a position to need this service, it's a very serious medical emergency. This is not something that we'll use, frequently, I would not call it. But, 48 hours after launch of the program, we helped a victim of a gunshot wound with this life-saving treatment. And we had our second call where we administered blood just yesterday. So
it's worth it.
Exciting clinical stuff and a big milestone forward. So that's going to be, the blood is not going to be on every ambulance, just the logistics of that would be very difficult to manage through, but it is going to be on all of our battalion chief vehicles. So the goal is, if a patient needs it, we will have a resource able to get it to the scene within 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're pretty excited about this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool that our county does that when so few do. Is it a very new concept? Is that why?
You've started seeing it pick up more in the last couple of years, nationwide. Major metros, as you would imagine, were kind of some of the first to jump on board with it. It does require some substantial investment on the part of the organization. There's equipment that is required to keep the blood cool. There is then equipment required to rewarm the blood, because you can't just push cold. There's infusion equipment. There's a lot of training that goes on. So it's not an insignificant capital investment to do it, but it's the right thing for these folks, and can be a game changer. So it's well worth the investment in our minds. And like many things within our organization, we are endlessly supportive of the community we serve, that whenever we roll out and say, how do you feel about a general obligation bond issue, so that we can put these things in place. We can add units, we can add infrastructure, we can roll out new clinical programs. Our community says, yes, this is an important investment to make, and we don't take that lightly. We always try and be fiscally responsible with things, but also make those investments that translate to improved patient outcomes.
Well, these communities are growing so fast. So I would imagine, is it hard to keep up with the growth?
We are well positioned throughout St. Charles County. We do serve all 592 square miles of St. Charles County, which a lot of people don't know. We are not something you think about until the day that you need us. I understand, but we do serve all of St. Charles County in its entirety, all unincorporated areas, all municipalities. We do that with 18 stations that are spread throughout the community. We have got one under construction right now in Winghaven that is going to really be a nice game changer for us, because some of the stations that kind of are surround it are extraordinarily busy, and this is going to provide a little bit of pressure relief for those couple of stations. Also, really give us some nice access for the Highway 40 corridor, which is continuing to get busier and busier all the time.
Yes.
We've got a couple of plots of land that we've already purchased that, when the call volume gets substantial enough, we will begin construction.
So you've already planned ahead.
We are in the midst of a strategic planning process right now. We are always looking ahead at areas of growth. And I mean, right down the street here from PJ's, I mean, you guys see the growth also. Out west on Highway
Insane.
N is crazy. I mean, every time I don't go west on in that frequently, but it seems like every time I do, there's a new neighborhood or a new apartment complex or
I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah, it is. It is substantial, and every time you look out into some of the new neighborhoods, it's like, oh, well, there's a dozen more houses than there were there seemingly last month.
Yeah.
So yeah, the growth is our constant here in St. Charles County, it seems.
Yeah, I agree. I like it.
Yeah,
I like the growth.
It's great to welcome new neighbors,
Yeah.
but we are in a good position, and we've got a great team in place, and are currently in the midst of a hiring process right now to make sure that we continue to add paramedics and advanced life support units to make sure that we're continuing the nice short response times that everybody has enjoyed for, the last 5 decades from us. We just want to make sure that we're able to continue offering that and, get to people's emergencies in an efficient manner and get them the expert level clinical care that we've always provided.
Sure. Wow. You answered all 3 of my questions in one answer. You're phenomenal. You're making my job really easy.
Yeah.
Hey Lake St. Louis, Jamie here with PJ's Coffee. We are getting into the Brew months, which means we are having all the teacher appreciation parties, back to school, soon to be Christmas and Thanksgiving celebrations. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware that we do catering. So we can bring all the fresh coffee, pastries, breakfast sandwiches, lunch sandwiches, anything and everything we offer here in the store straight to you. We can do parties of 4 or huge parties of over 100. So make sure you check us out and let us do the work for you.
So we have a really strong community, I feel, in St. Charles County. I feel it in Lake St. Louis for sure as the PJ's owner. What are some ways you connect with the public outside of these calls, but also I think towards kids. Do you guys do anything with children or schools or?
Youth is a large focus for us. We do a lot of work on really it starts before birth, to be honest with you. We, for a long time, have done child safety seat installs for anybody in our community who wants help making sure their car seat is installed properly.
So that's not just at fire stations?
Correct.
I didn't know that.
That's at our headquarters facility. That everybody can make an appointment, come up, and we'll spend as long as we need to with them to make sure they understand how to use that car seat properly, how to make sure it's installed properly. So really, it starts before birth. And then as the kiddos get a little bit older, if they get involved, we do lots of school visits, pre-K visits, things of that nature to get kids comfortable. But we do, like right now, we're in the midst of Halloween safety season, partnering with our library district to offer Halloween trick-or-treat safety talks, but also tours of the ambulance. We read a little spooky story, do a little craft, do that sort of thing. Again, get a little bit older, we partner heavily with our Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops to help them satisfy requirements of some of the health and safety badges that they need to earn. When they get to high school, we have a really, really neat opportunity for them, and that is our Paramedic Exploration Academy. And that's something that maybe if a young person is gravitating toward a first responder career or gravitating toward healthcare in some fashion, it's an opportunity for them to come in and spend 5 evenings with our leadership team. Each of those 5 sessions is 90 minutes long, and it's about half an hour of presentation, slides, lecture kind of thing, but an hour of hands-on. And night 1, we have them doing intubation practice on our mannequins. We have them doing IV starts. They're out doing urban search and rescue, trying those techniques in a very confined space environment. We have them learning how to apply a tourniquet. We have them learning how to run a mock code in a cardiac arrest scenario. We have them learning how to administer Narcan, how to take vital signs. This all plays out over a period of 5 weeks. And that program has been fantastic. We've got young people who were our very first Exploration Academy kids. I call them kids because, to me, they're kids. But they're now in our paramedic program, getting ready to graduate at the end of this year.
Full circle.
I'm hopeful that very, very shortly there will be my very first Exploration Academy cohort kids wearing the SCAD uniform. And it's just
that's neat.
I couldn't ask for, again, collaboration and partnership is central to absolutely everything we do with the ambulance district. There's very few things that we do that don't involve a touch point with another agency. But this one our school districts have embraced this as an authentic learning opportunity, and those college and career counselors within all of the schools are really working hard to identify those kids who express that interest and have that spark that they're interested in healthcare or they're interested in a first responder career. And we've been so happy with the results of this program. It's just a really cool opportunity for young people to kind of get a glimpse into our world. Because if you think about it, if you ask a young person, what are some healthcare careers? Often they'll say doctor, nurse, and physical therapist. Yeah, that's because it's what they know and it's what they've had a touch point with. But helping young people understand that EMS is a very different, dynamic, exciting, rewarding facet of healthcare that requires a different education path, but one that you can get through a little bit more quickly and still make a tremendous impact on the lives of patients in your community. I think this could be a really neat model that could serve us well for a number of years to come.
That's fantastic. So if someone's interested and maybe they're not like in a school setting, as far as like maybe they're homeschooled or something, can they reach out online and still do this program?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've actually had in a number of our Paramedic Exploration Academy cohorts, we've had homeschool students that have taken part in it, that whether through a resource fair, they've heard about it, through a friend of a friend, they've heard about it. But we've had 3 or 4 through the years that have gone to, that have been homeschool students. We also reach out to our private schools, St. Dominic, Duchesne, Christian. We do reach out to them also and offer them the opportunity to send students also. And this is something we do for a minimal investment of $25 per student. And that covers a shirt that we're not looking to make any money on this program. We just want young people to understand how EMS fits into the healthcare continuum and offer them that opportunity to decide, to empower them to make a decision about whether or not it might be right for them as a career path. Picking a career is a big deal.
And it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard. Like, I'm still learning what I want to do when I grow up.
Same.
And it is nice to have that opportunity exist within the community that maybe, and you know what, it's okay if we have 25 kids in a class and, some of them say, oh, this helped me realize this is not right for me. Well, that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
That's okay to have it be the thing that rules something out. But you know what? If they go through the program, they still walk away with the knowledge of how EMS fits into the healthcare continuum. And they understand what vital work paramedics do. And that's still a win in my book. And
do they then have the community training to help someone like in the community should they need help, like as far as like CPR?
They do receive some CPR training in the program. They receive tourniquet training. So on a very basic level, yes. But then we also at the ambulance district, after graduation, if they wanted to go on and truly pursue an EMS career, we have EMT and paramedic training at the ambulance district that they can enroll in our training academy. That is a process. We run 2 EMT programs a year, 2 paramedic programs per year, and we'll work with them if they want to, while they're still in high school, if they want to learn about what prerequisites they'd need to start looking at, what could make them an attractive candidate. We'll sit down one-on-one, work with them on how they can make their resume very attractive for post-graduation to get into that program and begin that path to becoming a paramedic.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great asset to have in a community, I feel like.
It's, again, I would stack our training team up against absolutely anybody. They do a fantastic job. They're, like many careers, you go through the education process and then there is a national registry test at the end, not unlike nursing, not unlike many careers where there's a board exam.
Sure.
Ours is National Registry of EMTs. And the pass rates that our training department posts on that are far and above the state average.
Did I just see a post about that?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds familiar.
You sure did. Like our spring EMT program, for instance, what you're referencing, 92% of our students passed that national registry test whenever they took the
Wow.
test. It's a fantastic, fantastic result whenever you compare it that the state average is in the 70s.
Really?
So it's a challenging test. And that's not to say that if you didn't pass it on the first time, you can't take it again, get some tutoring, things of that nature. But make no mistake about it, EMT and paramedic programs, they're rigorous, they're tough, and they require a lot of work on the part of the student. But if the student's willing to put in the work, our training team makes sure they're prepared and ready to go.
I love it. What's one thing you wish every resident in St. Charles County knew about emergency response or the ambulance district's work?
One thing I wish everybody knew and would do in the event of an emergency is what to do if an ambulance is coming up from behind you, because you wouldn't believe some of the. No, it's not, because it's all about, can we get to people in a time efficient manner? And I think sometimes people just freeze and they're not quite sure what to do if they see emergency vehicles coming. But we really just need you to pull to the right side of the road, slow down or stop if it's possible. So we've got that clear path to get where we need to go. Not stop in the middle of the lane, not move to the left, but move to the right for us. So we would greatly appreciate it. And before you pull back out onto the roadway, make sure that there's no other emergency vehicles coming as well.
Sure.
Because often if you see us, there's a fire truck coming right behind, or there's a police car that maybe just went through.
Sure.
So it might be more than one. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of at intersections that, when we're going through, we're going to slow down, we're going to stop, we're going to blow our air horn and things of that nature. But you would not believe how, sometimes people, and I think it's just, freeze up, for lack of a better term, that they're just not quite sure what to do. But it is important to make sure we let the crews get through, let them get where they need to go, move to the right, and make sure we have a safe, clear path.
So my next question for you is, if you are already stopped at an intersection, are you just supposed to sit there?
We need to have a clear path through. So if you can safely move over and give us that clear path, that is okay. But also, we don't want you, if somebody else has the green, going out into an intersection and perhaps getting injured and causing an additional incident in that process.
Yeah.
One thing that a lot of citizens don't know is that many light intersections in this community are equipped with a traffic signal preemption program, that if we are coming up on a 4-way stop or a 3-way stop or whatever the case may be, if we are responding code, meaning with lights and sirens to that call, that intersection, the light is going to quickly change. It is going to go green for us, and it is going to go red for others who would be cross traffic. So just be aware of that fact. And if you've got the green and we're coming up from behind and it's 2-lane, it's okay, proceed, but get over as soon as you can, so we've got that clear path to get through.
Get through the intersection and then get over?
Yes, that would be okay, absolutely.
I don't know if I learned that in driver's ed.
And again, ours is, as we've already referenced a couple of times, ours is a growing community with more and more traffic all the time.
Yeah.
Believe me when I tell you, I mean, an intersection literally right out here in front of the shop at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, as I'm sure you've been stuck in many times, it can be challenging. It can be challenging, but like I said, do the best you can, move over to the side, to the right, so that the crews can get through and do the important work that they've been summoned to.
That was not the answer I expected. I don't know what I was expecting, but just get over and out of their way. Yeah. It makes so much sense, but sometimes
it's simple, but like I said, there is a lot of freeze up that goes on, that people just stop. And sometimes
distractions.
Distractions, absolutely. And the fact that cars are made much more soundproof today than they ever were years ago.
Yeah.
Like if you roll back 20, 25 years, you could hear things going on outside. But if you get into a new, vehicle manufactured within the last 5 years and close all the doors, and particularly if you've got your radio on at all, which I never do.
Who
I never
does
have
that?
my, early 2000s hip hop cranked up nice and loud. Never happens.
We're never listening
Never
to
do.
50 Cent
No,
in our car.
no. I mean, into club calls for, a volume boost. It always does.
For sure.
But it's very easy to not hear an ambulance or a fire truck until we are right on top of you. And I will tell you, I've got to give credit where credit is due to some of the police departments that they have invested in these newer sirens that you can you can almost feel it. And
that's cool.
It's a different pulse to it, and you can actually kind of feel it in your vehicle, and the sound gets through a little bit better than some of the older ones. It's a neat concept that they've started employing.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So I would imagine being a first responder, obviously incredibly demanding work.
Mm-hmm.
How does the ambulance district support the paramedics should they have a tough call or need some extra support?
I kudos to you for bringing this up, because it's something that it's a tough thing to talk about, and not everybody wants to talk about it, but the tough calls do happen.
Mm-hmm.
It is an unfortunate part of reality in our world, and what is tough for one person may not be for another, but there's a lot of variables that go into that. If it's a pediatric call that is exceptionally challenging, and you have a kiddo that's that same age, that's going to affect you in a very deep way. If it's that terrible motor vehicle accident that maybe despite everybody's best efforts, somebody didn't survive. It's the house fire where maybe somebody didn't survive. These are heavy situations that our team members and our counterparts in fire and law enforcement and at the hospitals are called to deal with some regularity.
Mm-hmm.
And in years past, EMS did not do a good job of managing this. The mantra was, this is what we signed up for. You should put it on the shelf. You should move on to the next one. Suck it up it was just a common mentality at that time. And we were destroying people.
Sure.
PTSD, depression, substance use disorder, this all goes along with all of this. And it was dangerous, and we have completely 180 degrees shifted as a profession, not just SCAD, but as a profession. And I couldn't be happier about that we now say it's okay not to be okay after a challenging call. And we want to give everybody the supports that they need to work through that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is with a trained professional, whether that is with your peers. That's
Mm-hmm.
a really neat thing that we've come out with in the last couple of years, is truly just a peer support team. Folks who have gone through some training. They're not counselors, they're not therapists, but they're a supportive peer that has gone through many of the same things that we face every single day. And they're a supportive touch point for that person who's gone through something challenging.
Mm-hmm.
They can refer them to other resources that are true, counselors, therapists, professionals that work within these, that work with first responder groups. But sometimes it's just that initial, somebody who understands what you're going through that's
Sure.
super helpful. We also do what's called critical incident stress debriefing. After a particularly challenging call, we will gather up and bring everybody together that had a role in that call. The paramedics, the dispatchers, the battalion chief, the firefighters, the law enforcement folks, the nurses and doc at the hospital. If they want to participate in it, we'll give everybody that safe space to get together and talk through what happened. So all of these things in combination with one another have just completely changed the mindset about challenging calls. Because unfortunately, despite our best prevention efforts, despite everything we can put in place, there will always be those terrible calls.
Sure.
They may not be every day, they may not be, but unfortunately, it will happen. In a community our size, there will be days that it is challenging, and you got to offer your team those support systems. Your team members are your greatest resource.
Yeah.
And you've got to offer those kinds of things to make sure they are okay.
And we want them to, be happy.
Sure,
and
of course.
Live like full lives with their families.
Absolutely.
Their job is so demanding, but with the resources, I would imagine they're still able to appreciate, like, after a hard pediatric call, having to read a book to their child. Like there's so many, as a parent, I just couldn't imagine.
Absolutely. And there are the challenging days, but there's a lot of really rewarding days in this
Sure.
line of work also. There's, you were there for one of them.
Yeah.
Getting to reconnect with that kiddo who got hurt and made a full recovery and is fine. That fills our team's cup.
Yeah.
Getting to do those kinds of
To
things.
be fair, my son was the one that had the fall, but I think I was the one that was in more distress.
We get that a lot. It's okay. We understand that in many ways, mom is as much our patient because it's your baby. We get it.
I was also like newly pregnant, so the hormones were just raging. But
it's all right.
You know
it's
what?
Okay.
We got through it.
It's a holistic approach to care. We'll call it that.
What can community members do to support the ambulance district?
They're already doing it, whether they know they are or not, because it is not this way in every community, but we are just welcome. It's hard to describe the overwhelming support of St. Charles County and how they just always express. This morning I was at a senior fair at the YMCA, and the number of older adults who came up and began the conversation by saying, when my husband was sick, you guys came to our house 3 or 4 times, and every single time it was kindness, it was support, it was, even if it was just he needed a helping hand up or whether you needed to take, it didn't matter who it was, you guys were just fantastic. Our citizens so frequently just approach us and say thank you, and that it means the world to us. We don't take that for granted because it's not that way in every community across the country. We know how lucky we are. Things that our community can do. Take time and take advantage of some of the safety programs that we offer. Be willing to step in if a friend, neighbor, family member, or stranger has some kind of a medical emergency and you're present for it. Bystander actions can completely change the trajectory of a call. Those initial steps to control bleeding, to provide CPR, to provide first aid, to provide the Heimlich maneuver, any of those things could be life-saving for that patient. So get familiar with it. Take the time to go through the training and just have the confidence to act in that scenario. And you know what? Even if you take the training and then you blank a little bit that day, whenever you call 911, the first responders, our dispatch partners, they are going to coach you through the entire process.
Sure.
They're going to say, hey, have you ever taken a CPR class? Well, I'm going to count for you when you do your compressions. And here's how hard we need to press. And here's how deep we need to press. They're going to provide some reminders. And they're going to walk you through, here's how we control bleeding. Here's how we provide they're going to talk you through the situation. But having the confidence and the willingness to act is super important, and not just say, well, I'll call 911, but I'm not good at this.
Yeah. Or even if you can just call 911 and then wait for the ambulance and direct them.
Yes, that's an important piece also.
My son taught me that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not so much a big deal in an environment like here. It's pretty obvious where we need to go once we get
But a neighborhood
but a big office building. If we were to report somewhere that's got five floors and it's, a couple 100,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's, or if we report to a school, which hallway do we go down? Which, there's lots of variables. So just providing that level of assistance. If you're not as comfortable with the patient care side of things, okay, maybe somebody else on scene can do that while you direct us. That's fine too.
Okay, last question. If you could leave our listeners with one message about the importance of community in emergency preparedness, what would it be?
The importance of community, and I would say that whether it's emergency preparedness or otherwise, collaboration is key. Find those opportunities like we have with your business community, with your school districts, with your health partners, with whomever, to collaborate on projects, because together you're going to be stronger and it's going to build a more successful network. So look in your business and your personal life, who are your collaborators, and work with them to build that stronger network. And that translates to certainly to emergency preparedness also. Take advantage of the training opportunities, and the rest hopefully should fall into place if you've got those strong networks in place.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, my
This has
gosh,
been
my
phenomenal.
pleasure. Thanks for doing it.
We will make sure the website is on our show notes.
Okay.
And then hopefully this creates more collaborations and community preparedness and
all the good things.
all the good things coming your way.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the nice surprise today.
Yes,
that
of
it's the best surprise of the week that I can get this anytime now.
Oh, well, that's
And
easy. I can
certainly-
do that. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
certainly thanks for the connection today and the opportunity to share a little bit about what we have going on.
My pleasure.